Hello, hello. Hey, everybody. Hello. Wow. Does that mean that I'm live? I think I am. Yeah, that's awesome. You know, this is my very first live here on YouTube. So I'm still kind of, getting the hang of it, getting the technicalities down. And yeah, it looks interesting, you know. Bear with me, guys, because I might be still learning some things here, yeah, as I'm going with it. But yeah, it's great to be live. Great to be live. First of all, if you are here, I think I have a few people here already joining. Can you listen to me? Can you hear me okay? Let me know in the chat here in the comments if you can hear my voice well. Yeah, if it's clear, you can hear me okay. Let me know. Let me know. Saludos, teacher Zoraida. Hello, Zoraida. How are you? Uh, Davin. Hi, Davin. Can you guys listen to me okay? Pedro. Hello, Pedro. Nice to have you here, man. Can you listen to me? Can you hear me? Let me know if the audio is okay. Hello, hello. Testing. Testing. Guilherme. Hello. Hi, Guilherme. Yeah, yeah. This is amazing. Leticia says, sound is good. Thank you, Leticia. Appreciate that. Okay, awesome. Um, hello, my friend. Hello. Say hello to São Gonçalo. Eduardo from São Gonçalo, Rio de Janeiro. Hello, Eduardo. Good evening to you, man. Sound is good. Thank you, Pedro. Thank you for letting me know. Khalid, yes. Okay. Marta, greetings from Poland. Awesome. Hello, Marta. Um, I wonder what time it is now in Poland. I get the feeling that it's really late for you, isn't it? I mean, for me here in Brazil, it's 10 p.m. It's really late. So for you, it must be what, 3 a.m., 2 a.m.? Yeah, I mean, nice to have you here, Marta. That's awesome. Yeah, amazing. Guys, be patient with me because this is the first time I'm doing a live here on YouTube, so I'm still trying to figure it out how the technicalities here work. But I do have a topic to cover with you today. Yeah, we're gonna talk about how to be an active learner today. So yeah, we're gonna start very soon. Wow, 3:03 at night. Marta, don't you ever sleep? But thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being here. It's amazing. All right. Very nice, guys. I'm enjoying this. This is great. I am planning to go live on YouTube more often from now on Fridays. For now, it has to be around this time, night time for me. Is it the only time I have available? But if anything changes, yeah, I will let you know. But for now, I'm gonna try to go live every Friday, yeah, to hang out with you guys a little bit, talk a little bit about English learning, and just hang out, yeah, and have some fun. Okay. So, for today, actually, I have here a topic that I want to cover with you today for this first live, which is about how to be an active learner. How to be an active learner. I do believe that people who learn English well, like really, really well, are active. They are highly active and highly proactive in their learning, you know? So today I want to talk a little bit about that, about the importance of being an active learner. All right. I do have here a few slides to share with you guys today. So let me just get my slides up and let me see. Yeah, let me know if you can see the slide. Let me know here in the chat if you can see it. Like, yes, I can see it. I can see the presentation. Andrew Rosario, your videos are amazing and really useful for me. Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate that, man. Thanks for following. Thanks for watching and keep watching. Yeah. Yeah, Pedro says, yes, you can see the slides. Marta, I'm a night owl. That's the best time to learn and work. Nice to see you. Hello, everyone. Awesome. Yeah. By the way, that's a very nice expression. The expression that Marta used here, a night owl. If you are a night owl, it means that you are a nocturnal person. Yeah. You work better, you function better at night. The opposite of a night owl would be an early bird. Yeah. Picture that person who wakes up really early in the morning and functions better in the morning. That would be an early bird. But if you are the opposite, you are a night owl, just like Marta here. Very nice. Okay, guys, so let's jump into today's content here that I have for you. To those of you who are not live right now, I believe this is going to be recorded and available on YouTube later. So you can also watch it here on my channel later if you're not here or if you have to leave early because, I know it's late for some people. All right. Okay, so let me just water the pipes here a little bit, get some water because it's important. Transformer English, the power of active learning. Break through your English plateau. This presentation explores how to shift from passive consumption to active engagement for rapid language growth. It's perfect for intermediate and upper intermediate learners who are ready to take control of their English journey. So let's talk a little bit about that today. First of all, what is the difference between a passive learner and an active learner? I have here some information on the slide, but if you guys want to share a little bit here in the chat what you think about it, what are some differences between being a passive learner of English and an active learner of English? Let me know here in the comments what you think some differences are. The difference between passive and active learning. Yeah. Pedro says a passive learner consumes content. That's true. Only consumes content. That's it. As you can see here in the slide, for example, let's say background listening while multitasking, the very first item right here. Yeah. I mean, this is not bad. I mean, it's a great starting point, but it's not enough. Yeah. For example, nowadays podcasts are really popular, right? Podcasts. Most people consume podcasts passively, like extremely passively. It's usually playing in the background, right? You are at the gym, you are doing your workout, and then you are listening to a podcast. You are driving to work, you are listening to a podcast. You're doing your dishes at home or cooking, you are listening to a podcast. Learning is happening there, but you can be even more intentional if you are really paying attention to what you're listening. It's quite hard actually for you to do more than two things at the same time. So I'm sure that, if you are at the gym listening to a podcast, yes, you are listening, but you are definitely missing out some things there, some information, because you also got to focus on your workout, on what you're doing there. Yeah. So this is one example. Yeah. Like Pedro said here, a passive learner simply consumes content, right? Here are some other key differences here. Yeah. Watching shows or movies with native language subtitles. Do you still watch movies and TV series in English with the audio in English? Okay, but the subtitles in Portuguese or in your native language? Something to think about. Or reading something in English without the mental engagement. Just reading for the sake of reading, but not really paying attention to what you're reading. Or simply even memorizing things without applying them. Knowledge without application is worthless. And we have to be very careful with that because nowadays, online information is available everywhere, right? So nowadays, the problem is not lack of information, all right? There's a lot of good information out there. But now I think the challenge for us is the application, is actually applying, put into practice all these tips, all these um, pieces of information we get from YouTube videos, from podcasts, from online content. You know, not so long ago, let's say around 30 years ago, 35 years ago, I would say that the challenge for learners was lack of good information, lack of good quality, high quality information about English learning, for example. Yeah. It was very limited, you know, but now that's not the case. Yeah. Now I think the challenge has shifted. It's about actually applying what you learn. Now, here are some differences here when it comes to active learning, as you can see. An active learner engages deeply with the content he or she is consuming. So it's not just about passively listening or passively consuming something, but engaging deeply with it. Taking risks in conversations. That's another trait of an active learner of English. If you are in a group of people and then maybe there's a person there who is from another country who speaks English, do you usually stay quiet and you don't say anything? Or you take that risk, you take that chance and talk to that person, start that conversation? You see, this is being active as an English learner. Seeking feedback on your mistakes, this is incredibly important. If you have a teacher, of course, this means asking your teacher questions. But even if you don't have a teacher, or if you're not enrolled in a course, for example, here on YouTube, yeah, asking questions in the comment section. Yeah. I mean, I always try to respond to the comments. Sometimes it's impossible to answer to everybody, but this is one example. Like seeking feedback on mistakes. Or if you have a friend who knows more English than you do, asking that friend, hey, what do you think of my English? Is there anything I can do to improve my pronunciation, my vocabulary, my grammar? What do you think? Yeah. I've already shared that so many times here on the channel, on the podcast. Every time I met a foreign speaker in my home country, here in Brazil, right? If I met an American at a coffee shop or another, a tourist, I would always start a conversation with those people and ask about my English. Like, hey, what do you think about my English level? Yeah, is it good? Any tips for me? And also, an active learner creates opportunities to practice. You look for as many opportunities as possible to practice your English. And nowadays, with the internet, with technology, that's even easier to accomplish. Look at this live right now. Some of you are now here, yeah, with me live, listening to me talk a little bit about English learning, listening to English. You are learning. Yeah, you are learning. You see, this is you creating opportunities to practice. Well, it's Friday night, you know, I got nothing to do, so let me just join Thiago and listen to him talk a little bit about English learning today. You see, this is you creating opportunities to practice. All right. Here is a good analogy. Look, think of it like being a spectator versus an athlete. All right. Watching a sport is great, but to get really good at that sport, you have to get on the field and play. You see? So it's not just about studying English or acquiring more knowledge about English, but it's actually about using it. Getting in the field, getting on the field, excuse me, and actually playing the game. You see? Nice, nice, nice. Let me see here in the comments if I have any other comments here. Marta says, for me, I'm active when I'm listening, and if I don't know some word, I'm searching for the meaning. Yeah, that's excellent, Marta. That is one example of being active in your learning. Maybe you are reading a text, for example, or a book, and then you see a word that you don't know. you look it up. Or you might want to take notes and then you look him up later. The same thing for watching a movie or TV show in English. Yeah. If you see something that is interesting to you, that catches your eye, either you pause the video and you look it up right away, or you write down so you can look it up later. All right. Really cool. Pedro Henrique says, I was told that if I watched a lot of movies through passive learning, I would eventually learn the meaning of every word. I've been doing this for about 3 years, but I feel stuck a bit too. Yeah, Pedro. I mean, man, oh God. Guys, there is some weird advice out there. And let me be very honest with you. A lot of language learning advice that you get there is not even from actual teachers, like people who really do this for a living professionally, okay? It's just, it's advice from people who learn the language, I don't know, their way. Yeah, maybe they spent some time traveling, they have a good level of English, and they decided, yeah, to give tips, and then you hear some weird stuff like that. I mean, there is validity about that. I'm not going to say that this is not true. It helps a lot simply consuming the language, but at some point, it's going to happen what you just shared here, Pedro. You're going to get stuck. Yeah. Usually at the B2 level, because the B2 level is exactly that level. It's the level where you understand pretty much all you hear. You have good listening skills already, but your speaking is not quite there yet, or you communicate, you speak, but you feel that there's something missing. You could speak better, you could communicate better, but you don't know exactly what to do. Yeah. So at that moment, you have to be a little bit more active, more deliberate. I'm not saying that passive learning doesn't work. Yes, it works. Okay. But up to a certain level. All right. After that, you have to be more active, especially if you aim to be more advanced as an English user, speaker, C1, C2 level type of English. All right. So, yeah, that is absolutely true. I mean, it's not enough. Okay. It might work for a while, but then you have to do more. All right. So, guys, it's not just about knowing the rules, yeah, understanding grammar concepts or vocabulary definitions, or like Pedro just shared, simply consuming content, and that's it. You know, uh, once I saw a famous YouTuber, actually, a famous influencer here on YouTube, saying that all you need to do to learn English well is watch the 10 seasons of Friends, and that's it. That's all you got to do. Watch the 10 seasons of Friends. That's going to take you maybe about a year, and after that, that's all you need to to learn the language. No, it's not. Okay? I mean, that's going to help you a lot, yes, but that's not enough. Okay? Yeah, the absurdities we hear sometimes here. Look, it's important that you practice using the language, okay? Using new structures in conversation and writing. Whenever you see maybe a different word in a movie, for example, a different structure, a different type of phrase, consciously trying to use that the next chance you get. You know, it could be using that in speaking, it could be using that writing. I don't know. Imagine yesterday, you are watching your TV show, your favorite TV show in English, and then you saw a nice word. And then you went like, oh man, I like that word. Let me look it up. What does it mean? Oh, it means this. Okay, the next chance I get to use that word in English, I'm going to use that. And then imagine that today you are here with me right now in this live, and then you use this word, in the comment section here now. Yeah. You see, this is you actively practicing the new structures, the new vocabulary you encounter. Okay. You see, you might know, for example, the third conditional perfectly, but can you use it naturally in conversation? It's one thing to know the theory, it's another thing to actually use it. Very similar to driving, I would say. Very, very similar. You can learn all the theory about driving a car, but the truth is, the more you drive, the better driver you become. Okay? You see, active learning bridges this gap, just like reading a car manual versus car driving. We're actually driving. Okay? So, how to take control of your learning journey, how to become more active as a learner. Here are some tips. First of all, identify your why. Yeah, I talk about that all the time here on the channel. Why are you learning English? Why do you want to improve your level of English? Are you learning for career advancement, for work? Maybe because you want to travel the world, or you want to be feel free to travel and not depend on a friend to be your interpreter, your personal translator all the time. Are you learning for education? Maybe you want to take a specific course abroad, or a course in English about your area, or even personal connections. You want to uh, make friends from all over the world and interact with people from different countries. You know, what is your why? Why is that important? Because that gives you motivation, especially when you feel demotivated. All right. And also, having a clear reason why you're learning English shapes your practice. I mean, if your primary focus right now is improving your English for work, obviously you're going to focus more on learning business jargon, you know, words and expressions that are common in a work environment. For example, follow up, you know, follow up, for example, that's an expression. Yeah, that is common in the workplace. Deadline, you know, the quarters, right? Quarterly results, you know. So vocabulary like that. Of course, you're going to focus more on that. Tailor your practice. Focus on vocabulary, situations, and contexts that matter most to your goals. You see? And then choose your path. Select resources and activities that align with your interests and learning style. To be honest with you guys, I don't think there is a right way. There is a right way to learn English. There is the right way for you. Yes, there are certain methodologies you can employ, certain strategies. Here on my channel, I'm always sharing what worked for me, strategies, tips. But at the end of the day, you have to test it out yourself. You have to take all these tips, all these strategies you listen on YouTube, for example, from me and other teachers, and apply them, actively apply them, and see if they work for you. If they work for you, great, keep them. If they don't work for you, that's fine. Toss them and, just focus on what works for you. All right? Because, it's also connected with your interests, right? Deeply, deeply connected to your interests. If you can connect your English learning and practice with your personal interests, that's much better. Yeah. In my case, for example, I've always loved movies, especially older movies like from the 80s, the 90s, and I wanted to be able to understand my favorite movies in English. You see, that was an example of connecting that with my interests, or even music. I mean, I love rock music, for example. I love rock and roll. Yeah. I wanted to be able to understand what my favorite bands and singers were singing about. Yeah. You see, connecting your English learning and practice with your interests. All right. Learning then becomes more motivating and effective when it's personalized to your specific needs. So keep that in mind. All right. Another thing I would say, to help you be more active in your learning is just to embrace mistakes. Yeah, your mistakes are your greatest teachers. All right. The biggest barrier to fluency isn't lack of knowledge, it's the fear of making mistakes. All right. Look at this quote. I've learned the most English from the times I've been corrected after saying something wrong. I have definitely experienced that in my journey. You know, I've already shared that anecdote, but let me share that again because, I think it's relevant. When I was 18 years old, I was working my first job at the drugstore. It was at a drugstore. And then there was this American customer, this woman who came in, and then I helped her I got the products she needed. And then as I was checking her products at the cash register, I was speaking English with her a little bit. And then I said, "Oh, I've been learning English for 2 years now, and I've never been abroad, you know?" And then she just looked at me and then she said, "Oh, you mean abroad, right?" And then I was like, "Oh, yeah, abroad. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for the correction. I appreciate that." You see? So I never forgot that. I never forgot that. I never forgot that the word is abroad, a little bit more open, not abroad, you know? So you see, I mean, you learn the most when you are corrected. So embrace your mistakes and embrace correction. Be thankful if somebody takes the time to correct your English. All right? This is very important. Every error provides valuable feedback about where you need to focus next. Now, silence, on the other hand, prevents growth. You see? If you get shy, you know, quiet, you're not going to grow. Because to go back to the sports analogy, you're not on the field, you're not playing the game. So get on the field and play the game. All right? You see, mistakes fuel your learning. They give you the energy, it needs to grow. I would say that 75% of language growth comes from learning through trial, error, and correction. So again, you got to be actively using the language, getting feedback from more experienced speakers, getting corrected, making mistakes, fixing those mistakes, and that's how it goes. All right. If you do that, you're gonna improve 2 to 3 times faster, for sure. Yeah, when you actively seek correction. All right. Now, how to transform passive input into active learning. Okay. Before I continue here, let me just take a look at the comments just to see if somebody posted something new, you know. Um, Hello from Thailand. Nice. Hello from Thailand. I'm sorry, but I can't pronounce her name because I don't know how to read the letters. But hi, it's great to have you here. That's awesome. Pedro. Yeah, Pedro. Yeah, I think you got it, man. You got who I was talking about. um, Marta, I'm sorry, I have to go back to work. Yeah, yeah, go back to work. Go back to work at 3 a.m. Okay. Thank you. See you soon. Domingos, hi teacher. Good evening. Good evening, Domingos. Good to have you here, man. Thanks for joining. Angel or Angel, yeah, I can understand what you're saying, but I can't speak fluent. Angel, fluently. Okay. So let me offer a correction right now. Yeah, you say I can understand what you're saying, but I can't speak fluently. Fluently. All right. Um, give it time. Give it time. And as I'm saying here, be more active. All right. The more proactive you are, the faster the results come. Okay. Yeah, my pleasure, Angel. No problem. Yeah. This is actually one of the reasons why I want to start doing these lives more often, guys, because through the live, I can actually see your comments here and I can correct you right away, like on the spot, I can answer questions as well. So I think it's going to be great. Yeah, it's going to be nice. Camila says, I like to study English because it is an exercise for my brain. When you study a second language, it is a way of preventing some brain diseases. Yeah, there's a let me just test something here, guys, because um, I'm kind of getting used to the live situation here. Let me try to do something. Oh, you see, I can show some comments on screen. You see, so this is what Camila said. Let me read that again. I like to study English because it is an exercise for my brain. When you study a second language, it is a way of preventing some brain diseases. Yeah, there is actually studies and research about that, Camila. Yeah, that say that it's good for preventing Alzheimer's disease. I think it makes sense because it improves your cognition. Yeah, your processing speed as well. It's very good for your brain. yeah, learning English or other languages in general. But this is really cool. Yeah, I mean, you see, I can show comments and yeah, high comments. That's amazing. Let me try another one. Ignacio. Hello, Ignacio. Hello from Chile. Thanks for every lessons. My pleasure. Thanks for following the channel. Yeah, for being a supporter here. Um, Let me offer a correction here, Ignacio. Thanks for every lessons. You can say thanks for every lesson, you know, in the singular. Thanks for every lesson, or thanks for the lessons. Yeah, that is better. So thanks for every lesson, or thanks for the lessons. Okay. My pleasure. Thanks for following. Let me see what else we have here in the comments. Renato Nogueira. Hi, teacher. I have this problem. I can understand most things that I hear, but I stuck when I try to speak. Yeah, it's practice, Renato. You gotta practice, man. You gotta practice. Look for opportunities. Actively look for opportunities to speak to people. Yeah, maybe join online communities, Discord communities, maybe, or a paid community. I have a paid community, by the way, right? But if you can't pay for one, I'm sure that you can find lots of groups on Facebook. Look for people, yeah, to start speaking. Yeah, this is very, very important. Speaking by yourself is an alternative, yeah, while you don't have anybody, yeah. But yeah, it takes practice. If you don't speak, you're never gonna speak well. You know, and think about this, right? You're saying that you can understand most things that you hear. Why? Because probably you have already spent a lot of time, a lot of hours listening to English, you know? So obviously, the skill that you spend the most time on increases and improves. Now, if you haven't been speaking much, of course, your speaking will be limited. You see? It's all practice. By the way, Renato, a little correction here. I can understand most things that I hear, but I stuck. Look, but I am stuck. Okay? Add the verb to be there. But I am stuck. All right? When I try to speak. Don't forget the am there. All right? Um, I think I have here another comment from, is it Farid? Correct me if I'm wrong, okay? Farid. I don't know, but your voice fits so well for me. Kind of impression that I'm able to learn more from you. Thanks. I appreciate that. I try to speak as clearly as possible. I try to articulate the words as much as possible, and also use good voice projection. Maybe that's why you feel that is easier to learn when you hear me. Okay, but thanks for the support. I really appreciate that. Okay. Music Bot Official, a lesson in English of a song from Metallica. Oh yeah, man, I love Metallica. I mean, I don't know. I guess you can see it here, right? I mean, I have my Master of Puppets album there. Yeah, Metallica was my adolescence band. When it comes to rock music, usually we have those bands that we listen to all the time. For me, it was always Metallica. I think I got to know Metallica when I was 13. And throughout my teenage years, I was pretty obsessed with those guys. I love learning everything about those guys. So I love to buy the CDs at the time and listen to the songs and read the lyrics and try to understand what the lyrics were talking about. I love to learn about the guys, from the band. Yeah, learn more about them. And it was great because in 2022, a couple of years ago, they came to Brazil for a concert. Yeah, and that time I was able to go, and it was amazing. It was incredible to see Metallica live. Yeah, for me it was like my 15-year-old self. Yeah, my teenage self was really happy. Yeah, seeing that. It was a present, it was a gift for my teenage self. So yeah, maybe I can do a lesson in English with a song from Metallica soon. All right. Let me see what else I have here from comments. Eduardo Matoso, let me see here. I still have some difficulties to understand the full English episode for my favorite series. Thiago, what did you do to overcome this when you were a student? You have to understand, Eduardo, that some series are harder than others. You know, I don't know which series are your favorites, you know, but some are harder than others. For example, Friends. I think that Friends is quite easy, to be honest, you know, but still in that comedy genre, the sitcoms genre. Two and a Half Men, for example. I love Two and a Half Men. I find Two and a Half Men much harder than Friends because there is more sarcasm, there is more play on words and metaphors there. Another comedy series, The Big Bang Theory, that can also be a little bit tricky because of the advanced language that they use there, because it's a bunch of nerds who are very intelligent, so they use more advanced academic words. So it depends on the series. But look, what I did back, like, I don't know, man, decades ago by now, that always helped me was this. Uh, Back in those times, I used to use the DVDs. I used to have the DVDs. So I would, Friends, for example, yeah, I would watch the same episode 3 times. Okay? That's what I would do. I would watch the same episode 3 times. The first time, audio in English, subtitles in my native language, Portuguese. Why? So that I can understand the story of the episode. Okay? I can understand everything. Right after that, I would watch the same episode the second time, but now with audio in English and subtitles in English. Now I have already seen it once, so I know what the story is about. So I can watch the same episode again, but now with audio and subtitles in English. That is good because I can listen and I can read the words and see how the words are spelled, how they are pronounced, what the connection is of the sound, what I hear with what I see. Yeah. In the subtitles. And then lastly, the third time, I would watch the same episode again, but without subtitles, just with the audio in English. And it was always funny because by the third time I watched the episode without subtitles, I felt like I could understand everything because I just seen the same episode twice. The first time with the subtitles in my native language, the second time with the subtitles in English. So by the third time, you feel like you understand a lot. So experiment with that. Pick one episode of your favorite series and watch it 3 times in a row. If it is a longer episode, like 40 minutes, make sure you do that on the weekend, maybe. you know so watch the first episode the first time, the second time, and the third time, like that. That helped me a lot. So experiment with that. That might help you too. Okay. Guys, let me just continue with the presentation here, and then I come back to the questions here. Okay, I'm almost done here with the presentation. So here are some tips to transform passive input into active learning. Watching TV shows, for example, you can pause and repeat phrases. I did that all the time. I'll be watching my Two and a Half Men episodes there. I would just pause, listen, repeat, go back, repeat again. Shadowing, mimicking the dialogue. Yeah. If you're watching a movie and you hear the character saying something like, "What is going on here?" Repeat that. Repeat that with the same feeling, with the same intensity. Be like an actor, you know, and it's fun. It's fun. You can also summarize episodes aloud. Maybe you watch one episode of a TV series, you finish watching it. Now, maybe grab your phone and record a voice memo, record a voice message of 1 minute or 2 minutes summarizing the episode that you just saw. Okay, so I just saw an episode of Game of Thrones, and in this episode, this character died, and this happened, and that happened, and I was feeling really like this, A voice memo summarizing the episode you just watched. That's a great way also of practicing actively by yourself at home. And of course, like I just said, watch it without subtitles. Try what I just suggested, the same episode 3 times. All right? Repetition, repetition, repetition. Okay? When you listen to a song so much that you know all the words to the song, that's kind of the idea. Watch a movie or TV series so much that you know everything by heart. Yeah? That helps a lot. When it comes to listening to audio, like, podcasts, for example, look up the transcripts. Nowadays, it's very easy for you to get the transcript of podcasts and audio files. Sing along with lyrics. If you use Spotify, for example, Spotify has that feature, right? You can listen to the song, but you can also follow the lyrics. They're kind of animated. Yeah, do that. I think every music streaming platform has that feature, yeah, of activating the lyrics as you listen. So do that. Uh, Take notes on content. All right, and then record yourself repeating as well. Yeah, recording yourself is very powerful. You record yourself and you listen back. All right, so do that if you don't have this habit yet. All right. Reading content. When you are reading a book or an article, make sure you highlight new vocabulary. Okay. Summarize paragraphs. Yeah, maybe on a notebook. You can discuss what you read about with other people. Hey, the other day I was reading about this, and it's a really good book because it tells the story of blah, blah, blah. So discuss that, share that with your peer group. You can also write responses or reviews of the books you read. For example, there is a website called Goodreads, goodreads.com. People can go there and write reviews of books they have read. Yeah? You see, you are connecting your English practice with something you enjoy, reading in this case, and you are practicing writing a comment. All right? Remember this, don't just consume English content, interact with it. That's the key. The key is not just consuming passively, but interacting with the information you are being exposed to, doing something with it. All right? Using it. That's the secret. Some more tips here. Create an English first environment for yourself. Okay? For example, self talk, narrate your activities in English. Journaling, you can write daily reflections in English. Try to think in English. Try to process thoughts directly in English. All right? Try to, skip that step of translating first and then speaking it. I know it's hard, but you gotta be mindful about that. Change the device language. All right. This is something that I've always done. You know, my cell phone, for example, it's always in English. The language. I mean, for example, if I open my cell phone right now, I can see it right here. It says Friday, August 22nd. You know, and even the time. You see, the time for me it says 10:44. It's not 22:44, like in the Brazilian Portuguese version, right? So yeah, I mean, your computer, your video game console, your TV, put it all in English. Yeah. Think about it this way. If you lived in an English speaking country, like in the US, for example, probably all your devices there would come already in English. So just put them all in English. And the funny thing is that nowadays I've gotten so used to using my devices in English, I always use them in English. If I change my cell phone to Portuguese, it's kind of weird. Yeah, because it's been years that I use it in English, you know? Now, look, connection opportunities, language exchange. Try to find partners online. I've already touched on this today. Join communities, paid communities, private communities, or Discord, Facebook groups, Reddit, forums, you know. Comment on social media, engage with posts, and attend meetups whenever you can, virtual meetups or in person meetups. Okay? So here's a challenge for you: choose one new English habit to try this week. Okay? Um, Here we have some examples of success stories. Listen to this one. I started recording myself giving 2-minute presentations each day. After 3 months, I led my first client meeting in English with confidence. You can definitely try that. Try recording yourself for 2 minutes every day on your phone, giving a presentation about a topic. Or, I joined an English speaking coding community and forced myself to ask questions. My technical vocabulary exploded within weeks. This is an example of maybe a person who works in IT, right? But you can join communities in many areas, yeah? What about this one here? I practice by giving directions to tourists in my city. Now I navigate foreign countries with ease and make friends everywhere. Yeah? This is a tourist guide type of person, right? So remember, each success began with a decision to engage actively rather than passively consuming things. Okay? So here is my final message for you about this topic. Yeah? Today, choose one active strategy to implement immediately. This week, practice your chosen strategy daily for at least 15 minutes. I know today's Friday, so maybe you can start tomorrow or Monday, you know, start implementing this one active strategy and do it for a week, for 1 week. Then the following week, reflect on what worked and add a second active strategy. And then you build up from there, you know? After 1 month, evaluate progress and adjust your active learning routine. All right? Remember, the path to fluency isn't about studying more, it's about engaging differently with the language you already know. Oh, yeah. I love that. Let me read that again, guys. The path to fluency isn't about studying more per se, it's about engaging differently with the language you already know. You see? So, are you varying your practice? Are you actually using the language you already know? So, think about that. Okay? What is one active learning strategy that you will commit to today? Remember, your English transformation begins now. All right? So that's the presentation I had for you today about the importance of being an active learner. Yeah. And now I have some time here to answer some questions before I go. So let me see here some questions here that you guys are posting. Thanks, by the way, thanks for being here with me now, for hanging out. It's awesome. Yeah. I didn't let anybody know about this live because it was the first live, so I just wanted to go on the fly and be live. Yeah, but for the next ones I am gonna let you guys know in advance on my channel there in the community post so you can better get ready for it. All right, but yeah, awesome. Thanks, guys. Let me see here. William, let's see what William says. I'm still practicing passive input and improving my vocabulary, but I'm not feel comfortable enough to start to speak. Yeah, look, I mean, William, there is definitely a moment in your journey where you have to be more passive, okay? You focus more on input. I certainly did that. For the first years, I focused more on input, reading, listening, consuming information. But then after a while, you start engaging more in the output. Okay. So it's part of the journey. All right. By the way, William, a little correction here, but I'm not feeling comfortable. Okay? So make sure you do that. But I'm not feeling comfortable enough to start to speak. Okay? Let me see here. Guilherme, let's see. Hello, Thiago. I'm from Curitiba, Brazil, and almost every day I watch your videos over and over again because the repetition is the secret. Thank you. Thanks, Guilherme. I really appreciate that. And yeah, exactly. I mean, I did that all the time with the videos I consumed, the materials I consumed. You know, watch the same thing over and over again. Listen to the same song over and over again. Watch the same episode of a series over and over again. The same movie over and over again. Repetition. Yeah. I think it's Tony Robbins, that American, famous American motivational speaker. Yeah. He says this. He says that repetition is the mother of skill. Repetition is the mother of skill. So, yeah, the more you do it, the better you get. Thanks, Guilherme, for the comment. Really appreciate that. Uh, 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 that was pretty cool, Pedro. Where is the ESP behind you? Epiphone is not a Metallica guitar. Yeah, yeah, it's true. Yeah, the guys only use ESP, most of them, right? Although Kirk nowadays has been using a Gibson guitar, yeah, which was from Gary Moore, I believe. You know, there's even a name. I forgot the name. Yeah, but yeah, I gotta get my ESP, man. I know. Um, Carlos, let's see here. Carlos Roberto, greetings from El Salvador. I've seen most of your videos. Thank you. You learn a lot. I learn a lot. Yeah, I think you mean, right? Thanks, Carlos. Appreciate that. And Sergio. Let me see here. Sergio, hello everyone. I just arrived now. Hello, Chag. I follow you since when you were in real life English. Wow, it's been a while, yeah? So thanks for following me for so long. You inspire me to get better. My learn English. I don't writing better. It's okay. Yeah. I mean, thanks for following me for so long, Sergio. That's great. If I can offer a correction here, just one correction, okay? I am a big believer of quality over quantity, okay? I'm not gonna correct everything, but just one thing here. You said you inspiring me to get better. Look, you inspire, okay? No ing, all right? So you inspire me to get better, all right? Thanks so much. Appreciate that. Big Bang Theory is impossible. Yes, it can be tricky, like I said, because some of the you see some of the vocabulary, actually, a lot of the vocabulary from the Big Bang Theory, I would say it's kind of C1 level vocabulary, like more advanced. You know, it makes sense because the guys are university professors. Yeah, so it makes perfect sense. Juan English, shout out to you from Argentina, Thiago. Hello, Juan. Thanks for joining. Yeah, I mean, I remember you. By the way, weren't you the one who got a job in English or went on an interview and passed? I think it was you, right? So, if I remember correctly, yeah. Hope everything's okay. By the way, yeah, with the position there. Uh, okay. Let me see what else I have there. Watching an episode 3 times in a row is very hard, but no pain, no gain. Exactly. No pain, no gain, man. It's just like going to the gym, When you go to the gym, and, I've been doing that now, like, going to the gym, and it hurts. It hurts a lot, yeah. And then you work out today, and then the next day, your muscles are all sore and pain, feeling pain, you're feeling pain. So, but yeah, no pain, no gain. That's true. Juan says that he's watched Breaking Bad at least 5 times. Yeah, I mean, me too. This is actually something, guys, that I always do. You know, if I like a movie or a TV show, I watch it a lot. For you to have an idea, I've been watching Game of Thrones again for the, I don't know, fifth or sixth time. You know, I'm watching season four now, but I started from season one. You know, I like to do that. I like to rewatch series I love, movies I love. So yeah, it's great. Let me see here if I have different comment here. You can call me Sandy. Thank you, Sandy. Yeah, Sandy from, I forgot the, is it Taiwan? Forgot the country. Sorry, but yeah, Sandy. Nice to meet you. All right. Um, there's a question here from William. William, Chago, when do you think is the best moment to start speaking English? Look, you can start speaking right away with basic phrases. Yeah. But I do believe that if you are still at a beginning type of level, beginner, yeah, you should focus more on input. Yeah. You should focus more on input first, but you can start speaking short sentences and basic sentences. That's what I did. I started to focus on shorter and easier, more basic phrases, speaking them, I mean. And then as I became comfortable with those short, basic phrases, speaking those, then I started to, build up from there. I was always very pragmatic, in my learning, how I approach learning, like, starting from the easy one and then, building it up, building it up, building it up, or practicing one skill at a time with grammar, the verb tenses first, the simple ones and then the perfect ones. I was always very, very like, I like to compartmentalize my learning, So, sorry. So, yeah, start easy and short and build up from there. Okay. But you can start speaking right away. Yeah. Even as a beginner, you can start speaking basic phrases, introducing yourself. Hello, my name is, I'm from, yeah, it's totally possible. Victoria, yeah, hi. I always see your videos, his videos. He's the best teacher online. Thank you, Victoria. Nice to see you here. Victoria is one of the members of my private community. Yeah. So awesome. Yeah. Uh, 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 um. Yeah, you see? And Victoria says here, I invite everybody to join Thiago's private community. In this place, we have the opportunity to practice our speaking. It is a great tool. Yes, that is true. Yeah. In the community, you guys have conversation club sessions and stuff. So that is absolutely true, Victoria. Thank you. Um, Pedro, I've been reading news in levels and trying to summarize the content using the vocabulary I already know. ChatGPT does the work of correcting my text. That is a great website. I use that a lot in my teaching, in my classes, using levels. I always found it very useful with my students. So yeah, great to know that you have been using it, Pedro. That's awesome, man. DC Frank Thiago, the stream is lagging. Can you fix it? I don't know, man. It's the first time I'm doing it, so it might be my connection. I will investigate that. Uh, how to make it, a better experience. All right. Oh yeah, Juan. Yeah, it was you. Yeah, nice, very nice, man. Okay. So sometimes the image freezes, but it is not a problem. Yeah, it might be the connection, guys. I don't know. I am streaming now at 1080p. I might try next time to stream it at 720. With a slightly lower resolution to see if the lagging stops. Yeah, but let's see. Look, before I go, I just want to remind you that I am opening my second group of my Speaking Accelerator program. Okay, this is a great program. It's a very short program to improve speaking. Yeah, so for 3 weeks, you're gonna be interacting with me via audio messages on Telegram. about a specific topic, and the program starts now on September 15th. Okay, the link is here in the description of the video for you to learn more about it. Also, I'm going to leave the link here in the comment section, but go to the page, learn more about the program. If it makes sense to you, it's going to be great to have you as a student for 3 weeks in September. Yeah. And I'm going to be listening to your messages, giving you feedback on your English, on your pronunciation, and it's going to be awesome. The topic for group 2 now is going to be arts and entertainment. So we're going to talk about movies, music, and books. The first group that I ran in July was about learning and growing. Yeah. So now it's going to be about arts and entertainment. The idea is for me to run a group every now and then about a different topic, you know? So you talk about one topic for 3 weeks on Telegram with me, and I give you feedback every day, every week. Okay? Very, very nice. Sandy says, I've just started speaking English in the last 2 years to teach Thai to foreigners, and I keep improving. Very nice, Sandy. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, that's amazing. Okay. Guys, that's it. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this presentation today. And I'm going to make sure, I'm going to try to, join live here on YouTube more often. Yeah, probably on Fridays. So yeah, great to have you all. And I'm gonna see if I can make this live also available for you to watch it later, especially to those of you who were not here. Okay, but for now, I'm signing off. Thank you so much, guys, for hanging out with me on my very first live on YouTube. That was really great. And learn more about the Speaking Accelerator program. See if it works for you, if it makes sense to you to join. Okay? Thank you so much. Have a good night or a good day wherever you are. And I'm Thiago. I'm signing off. And I'll be speaking to you very soon in the upcoming episode. Bye bye, guys.